Hello, denizens. I've talked about electric cars several times already, and let me clarify the clickbaity title. What I really meant was that government's handling of electric cars is a scam. It's just not as catchy. First off, my disclaimer. I really do believe electric cars are the future. It's inevitable. We all want to get rid of fossil fuels, but let's not conflate climate change with the internal combustion engine. I'll explain that later. My theme for this video is that the electric motor and batteries will not solve our near-term or even our long-term needs for all applications. I will be splitting this presentation up into the following topic areas. 1. A review of what the issues government doesn't seem to have answers for. 2. Do we want to hand a key global industry to institutions worse than the oil industry? 3. What about the inflationary aspects of electric cars? 4. What about heavy industrial uses of diesel like farming, mining, construction? 5. Maybe the internal combustion engine has a future. And 6. Once the only new cars we are allowed to buy are electric, here's the next sneaky thing governments will force on us. Number 1. I've covered this in a previous video that no one wants to watch because to question electric cars is heretical. We'd all prefer watching YouTube reviews of the Tesla Plaid as this sleek missile silently eats up the road. And I agree, as part of the mix of cars being manufactured right now, it's awesome. But once it's electric only, watch out. I will deal with this topic later. Europe, the US, and Canada have targeted, I think, 2035 for the final sale of gasoline and diesel-powered cars. That sets a target and has already incentivized automakers. What governments have not revealed is how are they going to upgrade infrastructure, power generation, especially in the evening when most will be charging their cars and a photovoltaic system won't be adding to the grid. Electricity to the home, standardizing on connectors, battery disposal. If we're starting to suffer a tire shortage now, just wait for the tire rubber burning heavier electric cars will cause. What about safety? I'm not trying to be purposely alarmist, but you can't easily put out an electric car that has caught fire, at least not yet. Maybe they'll come up with some magic foam or something. GM has already put out a bulletin to Chevy Bolt owners to not park their cars near other cars. If, heaven forbid, several electric cars parked next to each other in an underground condo garage, if one of them catches fire, then they're all going to go up, and that condo could suffer a lot of damages from the insane, intense heat generated by that kind of fire. I can see condos banning electric cars, underground garages. The only way to put out an electric car fire is to stick the entire thing into a big vat of sand. Tow trucks will be hauling giant ashtrays in the future. All these things are solvable. My point is that no one is talking about them. And what's the plan when we hit the inflection point, when it's no longer worthwhile for gas companies to operate gas stations? What's the frigging plan? Number 2, the oil industry is evil lobbying bastards. But presently, China is making 80% of the world's car batteries. Do we really want to hand the electric car business to a bad global actor? And in another bit of good news, Afghanistan could have among the world's largest deposits of lithium. I wonder if the Taliban are going to ask the US for help. Suddenly, the fat cat oil mandarins don't seem so horrible. This is a huge problem that has to be solved. Number 3, inflation. We can all buy a very reliable car for $15,000 that will go 700 kilometers or whatever the mile equivalent is on one tank of gas. They tend to be simple and easy to maintain. Will there be an electric equivalent to a Yaris? Hell no. The electric proponents seem to have just accepted this bizarre range inversion. In petrol land, the cheaper the car, generally the better the gas mileage. Electric cars are the complete opposite. The cheaper the car, the fewer the batteries, the shittier the range. If you want better range, you have to buy a more expensive model. And I guarantee you by 2035, that used Hyundai Accent is going to sell for a fortune. You want a big return on investment? Buy the cheapest, best mileage car you can right now, stick it in a plastic bag and store it away. You'll get double for it in 2035. Number 4, heavy machinery. Trucks, tractors, massive diggers. No one is discussing this sector. A monster excavator is not used for a couple of hours a day lightly traversing paved roads, dropping Billy off at school. Although that would be cool to see. No, these expensive machines are used 8 hours, maybe double shifted 16 hours a day, every day. They have to be reliable and repairable. The president of JCB Heavy Equipment in the UK calculates that a 20-ton excavator will require an 8-ton battery and take an entire day to recharge. Doesn't that sound ridiculous? Do you hear Musk talking about that? He has shown his magic electric truck, which frankly will never go into service because of the extended duty that's required of them, and filling up with diesel takes only minutes, not hours. These tiny, light-duty shitboxes that he's producing are nothing in comparison to farm construction and mining equipment. It's a different category of vehicle entirely. Number 5. Further to number 4, the European Union seems to want to kill the internal combustion engine off entirely. And what the EU does trickles over to us here in North America. They are already mandating an end to diesel in cars and in trucks soon. They have created a next-generation internal combustion engine specification that is so insane that it's driving the car manufacturers straight to electric because it's actually easier. One of the reasons JCB did this promotional video that I will link below, it's really quite good, you should watch it, was to try to lobby the powers that be that maybe the internal combustion engine isn't dead. They are prototyping diesel engines converted to run on hydrogen. So, not fuel cells, but hydrogen as petrol replacement. But it has its own well-known issues, like generation. It takes a lot of electricity to crack water or hydrocarbons to extract the hydrogen. There's storage issues and delivery. The thing is, these problems are being solved. There's been huge progress in extracting hydrogen more efficiently, but the storage and transport issues make it not a likely source for passenger cars, but for big machinery in the middle of frickin' nowhere, where tanker trucks have to come in regularly to fuel these big rigs. I mean, it's absolutely doable for hydrogen. Maybe even right down to transport trucks, it could be doable. We don't hear about this because everything is batteries, 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 sexy batteries. I think hydrogen-powered internal combustion engines, whose only waste output is water vapor, is pretty sexy. The other upside to investing in this is that there are hundreds of thousands of mechanics worldwide who know how to service internal combustion engines, an existing maintenance infrastructure, and people get to keep their jobs. And finally, number 6. The dirty secret governments don't want to tell you about electric cars. And I'm sure they're going to come after me for revealing this. Once they are the only game in town, very soon, most likely, those bureaucrats from Brussels will mandate that there should be only 2 or 3 platforms that all car manufacturers will be forced to build on top of. Much like the platform sharing of the Porsche Taycan and the Audi e-tron, only much worse. Electric cars are fun because they have that initial zip of a really good golf cart. They are not so good once up to speed and not so great out on the highway. But the majority of people don't test the cars they are planning on buying anyway. So we'll have these mandated platforms, which I guarantee you will happen. Car manufacturers will initially add their unique body styles and interiors, and they will seem differentiated. But in the same way, the North American car companies bailed on making small cars and sedans, most will bail on doing anything unique with base electric models, and suddenly the 1 or 2 designated platform manufacturers will be forced to just put some egg-shaped body on them, and that will be that, and they'll be churned out by the bajillions. Perhaps there will still be bespoke electric cars for the rich and famous, and you know what? Most people won't care. We are driving the most boring lineup of SUVs now. We are being prepared for the electric revolution by the numbing experiences that are being sold as transportation devices now. What's going to happen with all those grand old petrol cars? It's too bad that gasoline goes bad. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Look, I'm not debating the value of electric cars. I don't want to debate that in the comments. What do you think of hydrogen-powered internal combustion cars? Till next time, denizens. Be seeing you.